What's going on, everybody? This is Houston from the Morgan Thomas Show. I just wanted to go ahead and start a little debate. We're going to have a segment on our show tomorrow that you can listen to on 105.5 The Roar and 97.5 and on the TuneIn app. Make sure you listen on Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m. You can also live stream on YouTube and Facebook as well, our show. It's a great time, but there's a debate. There's a great debate. I was going to make a video about this either way, and it just so happened this new thing that had popped up this week in Clemson culture about some little hand signal. I don't know whatever that is, but I wanted to talk about it. I think there's some things that need to be said about it, and some things that need to be said about a certain woohoo potentially about that. And then we need to chat about it as Clemson fans. It's something that I have a problem with, but like I said. Tune in tomorrow night. We'll be talking more about it from 7 to 8 p.m. On 105.5 The Roar, 97.5 FM on the TuneIn app as well. You can also listen on Facebook and YouTube. But let's get into it.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
All right, so welcome to Houston Has a Problem. Middle of the season, we've just gotten started with the fall season with footballs in full swing. Everybody's happy. The Tigers are back home. Everybody went to Clemson on Saturday. We're all super happy to be back in the stands. And something caught my eye in the stands on the Jumbotron, really small, nothing kind of thing when it was panning through the crowd. A student held up one of these guys, whatever it is. I don't know. I'd never seen it before. I didn't really care. Nothing really jumped out because of that. But apparently there is a new hand signal in Clemson. Some people are saying paws up. Some people are just saying it's the paw, whatever. There's a new hand signal. And it took Twitter ablaze for basically every day since then. And the funny thing about this is I was going to queue up a video on the week prior before the show. We were going to talk a little bit about the woohoo and the woohoo debate. But I just didn't feel like it was the right time to do it after the Georgia loss and everybody going, panicky about that. I felt like it wasn't the right time to bring up that debate. So I waited until after the SC State game. I knew Clemson would win. I knew it was going to be just kind of an ugly game either way. And so I was prepared to talk about the woohoo. And then the hand signal came up. And so naturally, everyone's reaction has been completely negative and, non-rational. Everybody is telling college kids, you shouldn't do this. We need to just there's a photo of a couple of kids in the student section, and they're just getting just absolutely blasted online about this hand signal thing. And it's also the same thing about the woohoo. If you don't know what the woohoo is, if you're in the stadium and you get to the part of the band about to go to CLEM, the count of the letters and everything like that, in the fight song, there's that woohoo part that people do. And the rationale behind it is just nobody likes it, or at least the people I've heard. The people who don't like the woohoo or the hand signal are very, very, very vocal about their disdain for the woohoo and the hand signal. And I'm just kind of curious about that. I mean, somebody in the chat or somebody in the comments can comment on this about why it's so bad. But from what my research I've done, it was the inception of the woohoo came in 1998. And look, if you're not familiar with that, if you haven't kept up with Clemson lore in the past, 98 was a pretty rough year for Clemson football. 3-8, they got beat 48-0 by Florida State that year. Pretty rough game. There's some rumors that the woohoo actually came from Florida State fans making fun of Clemson. I could be wrong, so don't hold me to that. But that's what I've heard. But the irony of this is look at what Clemson has become and look at what Florida State has become. Now, Florida State has won national championship since. They won a national championship in 99. They won a national championship in 2013. But they are not the same that they used to, as opposed to Clemson that had to go through its growing pains and now has gone to 6 straight playoffs and, has won 6 straight ACC championship games. So Clemson's done a lot since then. And it's all happened since the woohoo was incepted, or the inception of the woohoo. And the other part about this is think about the success of Clemson athletics as a whole. May not be great, but the national title appearances in soccer, the tournament appearances in basketball, 2 national semifinal appearances for Clemson baseball, the start of 3 new programs within Clemson athletics, all since the Woohoo came to be. What happened before the Woohoo? Well, we actually lost our very prestigious wrestling program. We were in the middle of a really rough patch within Clemson football, mediocre football playing in the 90s. So, I don't understand the debate to me when it comes to the Clemson Woohoo. And this sounds so ridiculous for a regular person to say this, which is why I don't understand why people are so mad about this. It's a chant, a cheer, a hand signal. The debate should not be anti-Woohoo versus pro-Woohoo. I think any sensible person should be, if you're against it, don't do it. If you're okay with doing it, you should be able to do it without recourse or somebody jumping down your throat that this isn't traditional. I'm sure there were chants in the 80s or cheers in the 80s that students back then thought would catch on and just didn't. Stinks. And who knows, maybe the paw hand signal won't catch on and it'll be something that gets discarded away after the season. We don't know. But I have to say, good on any students that, thought maybe, hey, we want to be a big boy school. Big boy schools have other things that Clemson don't have. I went to an Auburn game in 2014. They have more chants than just the cadence count. Clemson has the cadence count and the fight song. That's it. There's nothing else. No hand signals. It's just the cadence count and the fight song and the rock. And the rock, the fans don't even have anything to deal with that. But you go to an Auburn game, and as cheeseball as their chants are, because they're cheesy. I've been there. I sat in their student section. They have the 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits a dollar kind of thing, and it was cheeseball. But everybody was geeked up for it. They knew what to do. They had another cheer and another cheer and another cheer, and they were just on it. And to me, I'm like, hey, look, Clemson's a big boy school. Clemson's growing. So Clemson needs to be able to experiment. Maybe some new cheers. Maybe a new something that comes in every year that the students lead, and this is their opportunity to do that. We don't know. But I don't think it's right or fair for any adult or alumni outside of the school to jump down any student's throat about a hand signal or a woohoo or anything. That's kind of creepy. You're not a student there anymore. Who cares what the students do as long as it's representing the school? It's a hand signal. They're not shooting birds or saying anything. And I know that there's another vulgar cheer that people are debating right now, and that's a whole nother different video and something I won't bring up on here. And most Clemson fans will understand what I'm talking about with that. But when it comes to the woohoo and the hand signal, people just need to allow students and allow people as a whole to do that, to woohoo freely or do the hand signal freely. And if you don't like it, don't do it. Just relax. But don't put students on blast for that. It's not fair to them. It's not a great experience to have some 40, 50-year-old man make fun of a 22-year-old because they created something. And I'm going to be team choice of woohoo or paw signal. I don't do the paw signal. I don't necessarily do the woohoo, but occasionally I might. And who cares? That shouldn't be a problem. So that's where I stand. If you've got a problem with what my arguments are or the history of where I came up with this, then what I challenge you to do is listen to our show tomorrow night from 7 to 8 on 105.5 FM, WCCP, The Roar, or on 97.5, or on the TuneIn app. Tomorrow night, like I said, from 7 to 8, The Morgan Thomas Show, or you can stream on YouTube or on Facebook and get in on the conversation. Jump in, comment on the video, comment on Facebook, comment on all that. Listen in, call in tomorrow night. I'll be happy to chat with you about it. Otherwise, we look forward to talking to you. And as always, I've got a problem.